Well, hello and welcome back to Talk on Tuesday, our weekly series where we're talking to various people about what they're doing for the Lord in response to the coronavirus. So this morning we're going to talk to John and Anna Simmons. They're a lovely couple and they're pastors at the Vineyard Church here in Chester. So, John and Anna, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day just to have a chat. So how are you coping with the coronavirus? What's your world like?
Our world is homeschooling. We've got 3 kids at home, working full time with church and pastoring church and creating content for weekends, as well as supporting leaders within church, as well as a staff team. So I think it's a bit crazy.
It feels busier in a way than it ever has before.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It does feel busy. Everything's a little bit of a milkshake. And part of us is really enjoying that challenge and the sense of change. But then there's always a phone call away for someone who's maybe in need or poorly or something hasn't worked. And so we are trying to get out of the responding mode, but we're still responding, I think, to a lot that's around.
So who's doing the homeschooling?
Oh, that's me. So this is my little break. Okay. But homeschooling, and then trying to fit in part-time work with church as well, and school, because I teach in a secondary school also. So doing a bit online with that. I think I'm enjoying the opportunity to see people in a different way. But I'm desperate for the bigger crowd and to see new people and to get out there, and I'm finding that incredibly difficult in having to really journey that with God, because I love the new and I love the opportunity to meet new people. And so that is a really strange thing, and I think to some extent you're coping.
Yeah, I mean, being an introvert, but the weird thing is I'm probably there's less quiet spaces.
That's true.
And so I have to go and find the quiet spaces, which aren't in our house.
We have to chisel out cave time for John, because it's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm becoming more of an extrovert, even though I'm an introvert. And Anna's probably the opposite.
Yeah.
She's an extrovert, but becoming more of an introvert.
Having to cope with seeing people less. So that's that.
So talking of challenges then, so I remember the first time we met and you were talking about how God had led you and brought you to Chester, and you were very clear that that's what you were to do and that you knew it was to plant a church, which has gone incredibly well. But I guess when you said we're going to plant a church and lead it, what the picture in your head probably wasn't this. So how are you kind of explaining that to yourselves, or what difference is that making to how you're executing your ministry?
There's obviously a part of us, we were grieving. We were just ready for Easter. We planned a load of Easter events that we were excited about. We were in the middle of our biggest Alpha course so far, and we had to put all these things down. So I think there was a level of grief and responding to the pain that we could see around. But then within that, there's always this sense that problems are opportunities. And so particularly Anna's quite a visionary person. I am a bit as well. And so we were already thinking outside the box a little bit. And although we've spent most of the time responding, we have got our team around us, and we've had a few meetings already about, well, what are the opportunities? What are the places that, we can creatively invent something, or how has God uniquely shaped us for this moment? And so while it is a bit scary and there's fear around, we still feel that sense of calling, that the time is right and we're the right people and the right team to lead the church at the moment. And God is with us still. And so there's incredible excitement in amongst the challenges.
And of course, the vision doesn't change. It's just the way that we walk it out is having to change. Yeah. And so we're asking the questions, what's mission critical here? What can we put down? What do we have to go on with? What can we just reimagine and reinvent? And, for this moment, because of course we feel that there's a real deliberateness that God would have us here at this time for these people, that he's got something unique for us to invest at this time.
Where do you see God in all of this? There's lots of people out there explaining where he is in the mix of all of this. How do you see this?
He's right there with us, isn't he? You know, and I think, you know, I think that's the most important message that we have to give, is that God is not far off. He's right with us.
Yeah.
He, you know, we often don't have the words to pray about what's going on, or, you know, we don't have wisdom that we want about what's going on, but we know that God knows, and that he loves us, and that he's for us, and that he's with us, and those things seem to be tantamount importance, you know, and so it's been really wonderful just to share those really simple but really important things with people.
Yeah, and I think we, you know, really hold on to kind of Romans 8 in these kind of times, that this is part of the earth groaning, and a lot of us are inwardly groaning as well. But it doesn't surprise God, and that he brings good out of these moments. And so personally, we know things are coming up in us, like anxiety and fear and frustration. But as they come up, there's an opportunity in the trials for God to, you know, his Holy Spirit to birth new things in us. On Sundays, we're just going through the fruit of the Spirit, that God would want to bring love in a time of potential hoarding, and joy in a time of despair, and peace in a time of turbulence, and just looking at what God might want to do in that kind of Romans 8 way. So
are you seeing this as like a bit of a blip and then we can go back to normal, or is this is the start of the new? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, we've thought a lot about that, and some helpful analogies that we've come across. One is this idea that we've just been in a few snow days where everything's just kind of ground to a halt, but actually it's a little bit more of a winter that we're in now, and so there's 3 or 4 months of it's like this, but also the potential of a mini ice age. And that things are going to look different for a few years, especially the economic impact that I think churches are feeling already in terms of incomes coming down. And so there are changes ahead. Now, some of that is, you know, it's allowing us to make changes that we've needed to do for a long time. We're just having to. So there's some positives even there.
So there is a new coming. And I can't imagine us just sliding back to where we were before.
At this stage in our calendar, we're starting to plan for autumn and Christmas.
Yeah.
And so we usually have those initial meetings, and actually some of our biggest events are in that season. And so we've already had to say early doors that we don't think there'll be gatherings over 100 this year, probably. Yeah. And so there's a little part of us that is, you know, still thinking, oh, if it did all change, then, you know, this is our plan B. But our plan A really is thinking more in that up to 50 people, what can we do, you know, even around Christmas and fireworks time. And so, yeah, it's really reshaped.
And kind of trying to think about how we would multiply the small rather than gather the large, which is, you know, obviously what we've been trying to do in the past. And
we've been having debate around online versus in person, and what are the pros and cons. We've been having debates around content versus relational. And so we're trying not to get too caught in just providing content or competing around content, but making sure that it's all still quite relational in our context. And outward looking as well. We know a lot of people are asking the why questions, and there's a lot of need that we can meet and bring Jesus into the conversation. And so making sure we don't miss that moment as well.
I was talking to somebody the other week who was saying that he was actively praying that lockdown would not finish until the church had got past the point where it was just waiting to go back to normal, and sort of accepted that the normal is over, because there was that sense then that that's when the Lord will say, now listen, if you're ready to think like that, I have a few ideas I'd like to discuss with you. But it sounds like you're well and truly there already.
I think we're wired in quite a relational way, and so we've always seen small groups as at the heart of church, and really key. And I think certainly for the next couple of years, it's the small groups and the mid-sized groups that are going to be important going forward. And so the bigger gatherings, who knows? That is anyone's guess, really.
there is something powerful about the small, isn't there? It's maybe not as obvious or immediately satisfying, because, you know, to be in a meeting and there's 1,000 people there, you think, okay, something is definitely happening, isn't it? But the powerful person by themselves, or the, you know, the power of the small group is, feels like there's some more to be had from that, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, definite traction there, I think.
We still feel we need something creative around millennials, because there's a lot of people who, even though they are wonderful with technology, don't actually enjoy the Zoom experience and the everything being online. So there's a few ideas we still looking to unlock, and we have so initially, one of the things, we just tried to solve every problem in the city as well. We were like, surely, like, we, between us as church, we've got the answers to all the charities of food, you know, daft thinking. But we've come to realise that it is that kind of Mother Teresa quote of do small things with great love. And so we've been working out, well, what are the small things we can do with great love and equip our church to do? And so we've seen these little pockets of being able to help certain social workers, being able to help certain charities and food bank, and just finding those ways to serve our community. And I think in a month's time we'll kind of have the plan for that for the next season as well. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah. Oh, really? And you're in a advantageous position as a church and as a couple. You've got, you know, a successful, thriving church. You've got the technology that we've been talking about, but there's many churches that are small. They maybe don't have the funding or the people or the tech or whatever. What would you say to them?
Yeah, no, that's really important. I think it's funny, but at the beginning we said to our people, don't despise the old ways, you know, the phone calls, the letters, the notes, the just dropping stuff around to people's houses, the things that we used to do, and the ways that we used to communicate. And I mean, there are a number of things I think we'd say, and that is, you know, let's do that. Let's stay relational. Let's stay as connected as we possibly can. And that may not be through the Zoom calls or through the other things that people are doing. If you're in a small village or something like that, or, you know, it's just not possible for everyone to get online, then there are other ways to communicate. And the other thing is just to use what's out there. There's so many brilliant resources, and you know, we've got church plants that we chat to, and some of them are not producing their own stuff at the moment, but they are using talks and other things that are coming from other places just to help grow their community, and that's great. You know, we're all in this together, and we'd be the first to say, use whatever we've got out there, just take it, you know, and I'm sure everyone would be in the same boat. We've got to share resources and you know, enable people to kind of to have what they need. I mean, the other day we had a couple just drop some cakes at our door, knock and run it was, you know, but it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. We hardly saw them, just the back of their heads, but it was just enough to know that they loved us and they loved our kids, and it was brilliant. And I think those sort of things are just splendid, so we need to keep doing them. Yeah. There
was something in me that again wanted to compete on a content level, but I think you have to die to that, and realise that there are going to be some churches who are out there that you kind of want to go to on a Sunday morning and watch, and so not to compete with that, but know what your strengths are and the community that you're in at that time, and make the most of those opportunities rather than wish you could compete on a content level.
Yeah,
that's really important, isn't it? Yeah, just honouring everybody else's gifts as well as our own. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking this time out, especially if you're so busy, but that's fantastic. Thanks ever so much for that.
It's fine.
We'll catch you again.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Take care.